Hi, this is Adele, and in this video, I'm going to share with you and show you and explain to you the 6 stages that I go through with my abstract florals. Now, this is a very different way of approaching when I do realism than when I do my abstract paintings. So I hope you enjoy it. And if you haven't already, please hit the subscribe button below. You don't want to miss out on any of my Saturday morning art tutorials, and click the like button, and let's get started. Here is a slide of the very beginning of my painting. It's a 5x7 painting, and it's going to be of flowers, abstracted florals. And I'm showing you how it's different with a realism than it is with, at least for me, with abstract. When I do abstract, I don't plan out the whole composition ahead of time. I go in thinking that, yeah, I know it might be a blue painting, it might be a neutral painting, it might be this or it might be that, to lead in a certain direction. But when I do a realistic painting, these florals, I do the composition ahead of time. So this is the composition, and while I'm drawing the flowers on here, this is the first, very first stage. But when I draw the outline, and these are just suggestions, circles, and I'm looking at a variety, I'm thinking of variety as far as large ones, smaller ones. Do I have one shape, a clutter of shapes? Are they close to the edge? Are they too much in the center? What about the lines? Are they all spread out evenly? So this is the first stage that I can visually step back and see what the composition is. Now, this is the next stage that I do. Once I have the flowers filled in, I put a dark color over in the circles. I like having, personally, I like having a dark color underneath neutral or white paint. I think it makes it just look so much more interesting. It has a lot more depth. And so I do that on every painting I do. If I do a neutral painting, it has a dark color underneath. And this is raw umber. So I go over and I can see even much better now what the composition, the overall composition does. And whether it's going to lead the viewer's eye from the left, move around, come down, and circle around the painting. So I really consciously think what I need to do to move the viewer's eye. And so I can see it much better. It's like almost a black and white painting. And then I will go in and put the lines of the stems of the flowers. I accidentally took this after I did 2, so you can see the 2 on the bottom left. Now in this one, you can see where I added the lines. I like organic flowing lines to balance off the more, well, it's not structured, but the organic shapes of the flowers. And again, this way I can see how it all leads together. Each step leads me to make the next step, and I love lines in combination with shapes. So you can see how, how the whole painting develops. Now here is the next stage where I start filling in one flower at a time, because I use wet on wet to get the effect of really textured paint and just texture in the painting. I don't have any other texture in the background of this painting, so I really want the texture of each flower. I want them to be related, so I'll use the same way in each one, how I paint wet on wet, and I move the paintbrush around quickly to kind of mix the paints around. All the while, so I work on one at a time, and I work very quickly. And you can see how the stems are not the dark anymore. I go over them with the lighter color, and because when I'm doing the flowers, I might go over part of the stem, and it just looks much more natural and more interesting to me, having the stems first. You kind of work, I think of it this way, you work from the back to the front, where you do kind of like I do in landscapes, where you put the background in, and then layer by layer by layer, you go towards the last pieces in the front are the details. Now this is the next one where you can see I have filled in all of the flowers. I also put some of the vertical white drips in on both sides. I think of adding a vertical quality. That's interesting. That's not just the stems, because it does relate to my aesthetic with my abstract painting, where I use a lot of my abstract style in these, even though they're florals. And I love drawing, so I always add some shapes in. You can see in the upper right-hand corner where I just outline some shapes. And I always, work in odd numbers, 3s, 5s, 7s, and that kind of thing. And I'm careful not to put everything exact same distance between them. You want maybe 3, but maybe not 3 exactly, evenly spaced. You have one like the one you can see right now. I have the drawing on the drawing flower on the far left. This is the final stage of my abstract florals. Now, the last image that you saw of this had these flowers that were drawn in. But what you didn't see was these drawings that I put in here, and this one piece over here, which is very subtle, but I drew this on and then it wasn't strong enough, so I had to go over it with some white, and then I blocked out all then it was, you couldn't see any of the lines, so I had to go over it again. So there are always changes and tweaks that you have to make. But you can see how this overall composition has stayed the same from the very first stage. And I experimented with adding just pieces of just shapes. I love the different shapes, the organic shapes, and I love drawing. And these I actually drew on tracing paper, and then with China marker, and then I cut them out and put them on here, but then they were too white. And so I was like, oh my gosh, they're going to draw so much attention. So what I did next was just paint. I mixed up a color that was like the background, and I painted the tracing paper the same color or close to the same color. And what I didn't realize, but came out really well, was that it subdued the black China marker, but had a wonderful effect. So, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, odd numbers. And then I added a lot of the writing, because I like to add writing. So it takes your eye all around. And then I have to tell you what happened here. I usually like to put drips and everything, but I had this squeeze bottle, and this is so big I have to put it on the floor, especially with the drips. So I squeezed this out, and this line came out unexpectedly. So I didn't know whether to take it out or to leave it, but I left it. So these unexpected things can happen, and you have to make decisions all along the way. Keep them in or take them out. But I really like it. So this is the last and final stage of the abstracted florals, which is very different compositionally, the way you go about it, than just regular abstract painting. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.